Okay, so actually selected the microphone this time. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so first point to be noticed about like UK versus American voices is like UK voices tend to be like a bit softer, at least especially women's voices, and American voices tend to be a little bit heavier, a little bit brighter. So you said you were also from New Zealand, and I think there's some similarities between British voices and like New Zealand voices, but I genuinely am not super sure. But anyway, so if I do like if I make a kind of like more Americanized sound, like right, it's more kind of heavy, it's more kind of like bright, but British voices don't tend to have like a sounds like that, right? Glass sounds definitely very out of place, and I know that's a very stereotyped voice, right? But if you do like so what I was talking about before was like the kermitty knodelly quality, right? Something like this, right? Obviously, if I just kind of go out into normal speech versus including it kind of here, it doesn't sound super great. But if I like do it and then I start to raise resonance and kind of like let go of it a little bit, it starts to sound kind of more normal and maybe a bit more British. I don't know why I said British like that. It's just become just a thing that we do now because it was a meme for ages. No, but so we can play around with this knodelly quality and kind of like play back and forth and see whether there's kind of like a sweet spot, right? Playing around with like higher resonance, and all that kind of stuff to see if it kind of gets you closer to what you're looking for. In terms of like accent preservation in more kind of broad stuff, like I'm just going to use another very stereotyped example, like glass versus glass, right? So if I wanted to preserve my accent, I wouldn't want to end up like glass, right? I'd want to be like glass, right? So I might practice scaling up words that tend to kind of lose their identity in a more kind of focused way. So whether I do this with resonance and voiceless stuff like glass, right? Versus like right? You can kind of hear the difference there. But I could also play around with it with voice, and this is probably the more productive way. Whether you want to keep it on a stable pitch or change the pitch is up to you. But class, right? And I could practice scaling it like that. So that's like just a few of the things you could play around with.